Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Development Permit Panel meeting of Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. On the panel today, you have myself, Wayne Craig, General Manager of Planning and Development, James Cooper, Director of Building Approvals, and Lloyd B., Director of Transportation Planning. We also have a number of city staff joining us today to support the applications under consideration. Josh Reese, Alex Costin, Andrew Norton, Babek Bahina, Chris Bishop. I believe that has covered the city staff in attendance. The panel deals with matters of form and character, things such as parking, architecture, landscaping, exterior lighting, etc. The panel does not deal with land use matters such as use or density, as those are established through the rezoning and zoning process, which is a council process. In terms of the agenda today, we do have two items on the agenda. The order of business for each item, once called, will be a presentation from the applicant, followed by an opportunity for the panel to hear any comments from city staff. There will be opportunities for panel questions of the applicant or staff. After that, we will hear any comments from the public or written submissions received in response to the notification for this meeting. Following that, there would be deliberation on the staff recommendation being presented to the panel today. The applications would then proceed to City Council for their consideration once any of the prior to requirements have been addressed. Of note, when items proceed to City Council for their consideration, they are done so as non-delegable items, so it is important that should any member of the public or any interested party wish to make their new views on the application known, this is your opportunity to do so. With that, I'll turn our attention to today's agenda. The first item on the agenda is a motion to adopt the minutes of the Development Permit Panel meeting held on July 30th of 2025. Lloyd or James, are either of you prepared to move a motion?
James, it looks like James was here. I wasn't here at the last one, so maybe James could do that.
Yes, so moved. Second.
Lloyd, you seconded that? All those in favor? Thank you. Those minutes are adopted. The first item on today's agenda is development permit number 19869-484. The applicant is David J. Ho Architecture, Inc. The property location is 7890 number 5 Road. And the recommendation before the panel is that an environmentally sensitive area development permit be issued at 7890 number 5 Road, which would facilitate the construction of an elementary school and associated amenities within the area of the lot, which is zoned Assembly ASY. David, will you be providing the presentation today?
Yes, I will be. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for taking the time to consider our ESA DP application. I'd like to introduce Mr. Todd Chow, the chairman of the building committee, who will give a short history of the school. Todd, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, David. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, David, if you could, please. My name is Todd Chow. I'm a board member of Cornerstone Evangelical Baptist Church, and as David mentioned, I am leading the building committee on behalf of the church. I'd like to give you a very short synopsis, 2 minutes, if I can, about how we got here and where we came from. Cornerstone began its roots in 1972. There was a small group of people seeing a need to reach out to English-speaking Canadian-born Chinese. Now, obviously, that's not an issue now, but back then it was a little bit different. So a small church was formed, first service being held in a small building on East 14th Avenue in Vancouver in 1978. With the continued growth, in 1985, we purchased our current property on Number 5 Road, with its building, our main building right now, being completed in 1996. Oh, David, can you switch aside? Sorry. So there's our little church on the upper side, and there's our current building as it stands right now. Next slide, please, David. The Cornerstone Christian Academy, which is obviously our school, was formed in 1997. We started with one teacher, one administration, and 6 students. The goal was to create a well-rounded Christian-based school with solid education standards, open to both faith and non-faith families, and of course, an integration to the greater Richmond community while serving as an important ministry of the Cornerstone Church. This upcoming year, the Academy has 317 students, and from preschool to grade 7, and 54 full-time and part-time staff. The Church and Academy are strong supporters of our local programs, such as Cops for Cancer Ride, the Richmond Heritage Fair, and the promotion of diversity and cultural appreciation through our interfaith events with our Number 5 neighbors on the highway to heaven. Next slide, please, David. So why are we applying for a development permit? Well, the simple fact of the matter is, with the growth of the school and the church, we run into facility issues. First of all, number 1, bullet point 1, there's a lack of space for the classrooms and the ability to run church programs concurrently. A very simple example is our senior group like to meet in the daytime. They don't like to go at night, so they need to meet somewhere. There's nothing on site that's available to them. So with the new facilities, if they are approved, we will be able to repurpose our main building right now back to a primary church use. And second of all, number 2, our portables, which house the majority of our students, have aged, and basically 2 of them, there's 3 of them that we have, or complexes, that they are at or near end of life. So we need to replace them. So with these new facilities, what we're looking at is ability to address these building issues, the age issues of the portables, and really fulfill our need to fully provide the best possible facilities, not only for our students, but our church programs. So with that in mind, I'll let David present the DP and DP plans and go from there. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Todd. The site is located on the northeast corner of Number 5 Road and Glendale on the highway to heaven. It is bounded on the north by the Gardens Greenhouse Garden Center, on the east by Highway 99 and farmland, on the south by Glendale Road and the Richmond Chinese Evangelical Free Church and the Fujian Evangelical Church. On the west is Number 5 Road and single-family dwellings. At a distance of 120 meters from Number 5 Road, the site is zoned as ASY Assembly. The remainder of the site is zoned AGI, agricultural, but it is also a designated environmentally sensitive area. Coming to the assembly zone site, on the south there is an existing building housing the school, administration offices, a gym, a church, and some classrooms. There are also 3 portables on the site. These are used as classrooms. The north portion has a site area, or there's a portion on the north side of 10,749 square meters, which is also designated as ESA. This is only an area available for development, so for expansion, we will have to be doing some remediation work on the AGI site. On the AGI site, this portion of the site is also zoned ESA. The northern portion is being used by Gardens in Gardens as an extension of their garden center. The southwest portion remains mainly undisturbed. The west portion has septic tanks and a drainage field for the school's sanitary sewer system that will be retained. The sewer system has been sized to accommodate the proposed new additions. It was quite a challenge to provide an area for remediation conform with the zoning bylaw that requires the AGI zone land to be farmed and to leave the ESA area intact. After much discussion with the city, the school, our biologist Chris Lee of Equaterra, and the owners of the garden center, a compromise was reached. The area used for remediation will be the area disturbed by the septic field, which was also used as a playfield at the time. And then to make up the rest of the area, we will take part of the area that is being used by Gardens and Gardens for their planting area. The remaining area will still continue to be used by Gardens and Gardens, and this will be under a long-term lease, and this area will be considered the farmed area. The existing area that is understood will remain as is. The only thing we're doing in this area is the removal of Japanese knotweed, which is a pervasive weed. Unfortunately, our biologist, Chris, has not logged in. He's on site today, and we'll try to log in as soon as he can. The development of the ASY
David,
site...
I'm here, just so you know. I am here.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Chris.
Yeah. If there's any questions that arise, I'm available.
Okay. The development of the ASY site will be done in 3 phases. The first phase is the elementary school. The second phase will be the cafeteria and gymnasium, and the third phase will be the auditorium. This slide shows the total development with the removal of the existing portables and additional parkings provided. With this scheme, we have 17 access parking spots and sufficient parking for bicycles. We have also relocated the parking along Lundell and number 5 Road to allow for a future multi-use path. There are 2 vehicle access points, and this is to facilitate the pickup and drop-off of students, so there won't be any congestion on number 5 Road. They can come along here, drop off kids, and continue out that way. And both of these exits onto number 5 Road will be right turn only. Pedestrian access is limited to 1. This is for security reasons. All access points can be monitored by the administration office, which is in this area. This was the original proposed building. Phase 1 in blue is the elementary school. Phase 2, the cafeteria and gymnasium in green. And phase 3 is the auditorium in yellow. The elementary school have a floor area of about 4,116 square meters and will house the administration offices and cater to students from kindergarten to grade 7. Each grade will have 2 classrooms and a music room, a resource center, a library, storage rooms, and a music band room. 4 additional classrooms will accommodate future expansion. Now, when we do the elementary school, it will conform to the Energy Step Code 3. These are the elevations of the school. The finished materials will consist of bricks, metal panels, and siding with a wood appearance. This slide shows the density of the development. The total density permitted is 0.5, and the proposed density is 0.39. The coverage permitted is 35%, and our proposed coverage is 26.3%. This is a rendering of the overall site with a complete development of the elementary school here, existing building, the gymnasium and auditorium there, gymnasium and cafeteria in this area, and the auditorium over here. This is a rendering of the proposed elementary school. From the time we started planning the school in 2017, construction costs have increased substantially, so we may have to do a bit of redesigning to bring it within budget. However, the location of the buildings will remain the same. This is the landscape plan, and our landscape architect, Fred Liu, is available to answer any questions. Thanks for your time, and we hope this DP will receive your approval. Any questions?
Thank you for that, David. Maybe just before we move on to hearing from staff, if Fred and the environmental consultant could just walk us through the landscape plans and the environmentally sensitive area planting plan.
Okay, Chris, would you like to do that first?
Okay, Fred Liu is my name. My video having some problem after upgrading the Windows, so sorry about that. I couldn't show my face. Okay, we have the privilege of working with the client and the architect over the past few years, and we're very happy we have developed into this layout right now, which is, I think, the most favorable for the city overall and for our project. And what we're trying to do here with the area left for landscaping, we try to use as many trees as possible to provide shade and a sense of scale to the project site. With the last revision done in July 7, we have upgraded our drawing, pretty much overall upgrading. That we will allow for the access from the south end of this development. You can see there is there's a line that's separating the existing with the new one. So this way, we are able to allow the pedestrian access pointed straight to the entrance, main entrance right there. So we try to use a couple of trees at the end, street near the street end of that to sort of frame this entry, pedestrian entry. And as you can see, the rest of the landscaping in the parking lot area, we try to use one tree every third parking stall to allow for some shade to the parking area. As for the boulevard planting, we try to provide quite a generous green strip there. With the street tree, which is the red sunset maple, planted near the property line with the wild grass area, and next to the parking stalls, we have provided some green strip there with the planting, and those will be low-level evergreen shrubs that will provide very solid separation and low-level visual separation as well to the parking lot. To the north, we have, we know that to the north of our site, there is an existing nursery right there. So what we try to do is provide some visual screening by using hedges, the cedar hedges, planted at about 2.5 feet on center, all the way from the west end to the east end. And that way, we will not be able to see the other side of the development. So wherever the area left for the landscaping, we try to maximize the use of it to provide enough greeneries and also the permeable area for the surface water drainage. And at the back, you can see the proposed 3-story elementary school. We also provide a very generous grass area for kids to run around, and there's free play. And then also provide a kind of odd shape planting to separate the loading area, so that will take care of the, as much as possible, the safety of the kids playing around. Basically, that's what we have. Oh, as for the plant list, we will try to use the tree with some interest, like a nice fall color, or with some flowers like magnolia and dogwood. As for the shrubs and ground cover, we try to use perhaps about 70% are the broadleaf evergreen, so stay green all year round, and the rest we dab it up with some deciduous tree, allow for some summer flowers. But basically, that's what we try to do. So if you have any question, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you, Wayne.
The environmentally sensitive area planting?
Yeah, hi, Wayne. Can you see me okay?
Yes, thanks, Chris.
Okay, I'm in the field, yeah. So I'm a bit of a disadvantage, but yeah, thanks to Todd or David for going back to that figure. So this project has been on the books with Aquaterra for a long time as well. 2017 is when we first got out there, did our bioinventory assessment of sensitive areas, and as you can see from this figure, the southeast portion of the site is the area that's contiguous and has the highest value habitat, and we've proposed to retain that. The areas that are occupied by the septic field was a good contender for habitat restoration, so that's kind of a low field grass and shrub mix, which is proposed for that, as well as some reclamation of the nursery area to the north, and as Fred mentioned, some hedge all the way along, which is a component of the offsetting as well. And essentially, I think we're at Rev 5, if I'm not mistaken, for the EA, just because there was a lot of back and forth and massaging and iteration of that restoration plan to encapsulate the various requests from the city, just to balance the agricultural use as well as restoration. So we tried to transition kind of from the existing school footprint through to the septic zone, where it's mostly shrub dominated, to kind of adding additional tree and contiguous forest zone onto the AG1 zone to get that offsetting balance. So we have a net positive overall. I don't have the numbers on me at the moment because I'm in the field, but I believe the latest iteration has a net positive balance for the losses versus the gains, just to meet those city objectives. The one component that we have and are most concerned about, but we've addressed through numerous city requests, are the mapping of the Japanese knotweed, which seems to be coming onto site, maybe from a variety of locations or sources. So each one of those has been mapped just to make sure we come up with the appropriate plan for management, removal, and disposal. And then we have a good template when we're doing the restoration, planting, and management and maintenance of those areas to avoid the reinfestation of those areas. Any questions on that?
Not at the moment, Chris. Thank you very much for describing the intent. David, I believe you can stop sharing screen at the moment. And Josh, over to you for any staff comments.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of comments. The existing school, there is an existing school on the subject property. In 2021, when council made its decision to remove schools from the number 5 road backlands policy, this site was granted permission to continue to be used for school use. The proposed school use is consistent with zoning. As indicated by the applicant's qualified environmental professional, environmental assessment enhancement on site includes ecological planting, including a variety of different shrubs and trees, resulting in approximately 1-to-1 compensation ratio, or a greater than 1-to-1 compensation ratio. The northeast portion of the site is continued to be farmed. The applicant has a lease with the existing farmer in that area to continue to farm that portion of the property at the northeast corner. Through the review of the application, the city is securing statutory rights of way with public rights of passage for use for future road widenings along number 5 and Blundell. In addition, as part of the building permit, there is an extensive servicing agreement requirement, including interim frontage works along number 5 and Blundell, and construction of a new bus pad, together with servicing upgrades and utility connections as appropriate. That concludes staff comments.
Thanks for that, Josh. Just before we move on to other questions from the panel, could you also just, the staff report does reference this, but this proposal is consistent with the existing non-farm use approval granted by the ALC?
That's correct.
All right, thank you. Josh or Lloyd, any questions for staff or the applicant?
Yeah, just not too many. Just kind of curious about, how the pickup and drop off. Like sometimes we've found within the city that pickup and drop off at schools can be a bit of a challenge. And so, how has the current volume been managed? And with the expanded volume, are there any features that will assist in making sure that's not a problem on Number 5 Road?
Can you take the question on the existing system?
Okay. Yeah, this really the crux of the problem is we have one exit, one entry. So we've done our parking lot is currently an L shape. So we're literally doing an L shape in and out for the school drop off and pick up. It's difficult, obviously, with especially every parent seems to drive now, so it's difficult. The turn, of course, is only a right-hand turn off of onto Number 5, but literally it's just a snake through our parking lot and out. That's how we do it now. I'm not obviously a professional traffic person, but a second exit would be very beneficial, or a second entry would be very beneficial. So that's literally how it's done now, with some supervision in the parking lot.
As for the proposed new development, we have quite a lot of temporary parking spaces for parents to park into and drop off their kids. And then so that'll prevent any congestion along Number 5 Road. You can accommodate quite a few cars, and then cars can continue off to the north side and exit at that point. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. And then the next thing was that along Number 5 Road, there's some pretty nice trees there and stuff. And I read in the proposal that these may or may not. Maybe I misunderstood that, but they may be removed. Is it now or in the future, or and being compensated at above 2-to-1 on the property? So maybe you can see where those new trees would go.
At this stage, we're only removing one tree, and that's where the driveway is. So the rest of the trees will remain.
If I could just clarify, so as part of the review of this application, as part of the interim construction works that are required for frontage improvements, it's not expected that the trees would need to be removed at this point in time. As part of the construction of that work, the applicant will also be providing a design for the future road improvements to be constructed by others. As part of those works, staff will continue to work with the applicant through the servicing agreement process to further review opportunities through the design process for the future works to retain as many trees as possible.
Thank you.
James, any questions from you?
Yeah, it seems like there's. I was just reading that it looks like a lot of parking on your proposal, and it looks like very limited in outdoor play space, and not too many places for a kid to kick a ball. Is this sufficient is the outdoor play space sufficient as proposed right now? And for your programmatic needs, and also is there a standard that you have to meet for outdoor play space? The other point of view that I'm looking at is in the development of your site plan, have you considered the turning radii in the fire truck access routes? in conjunction with your enunciator panel, your fire response points, and the exiting of the truck. So.
Yeah, we have 17 excess parking spaces. For the first phase, we'll have ample play area because the other two phases will not be developed at this time. When it is fully developed, the space is a little on the small side, but that's the only available space we have. So it is possible to remove, say, 17 spaces and increase it by a few hundred square feet. As far as turning radius is concerned, we have a traffic impact study, which has been submitted, and the turning radii conforms with the fire truck requirements.
I asked about the play spaces because I am aware of some schools that they use the roof.
Yeah, it is possible. At this stage, we have to consider our budget because of the increased costs over the years.
And the buffer to the north, is there sufficient space? I think
Yes.
Fred mentioned that there would be a row of cedar hedge. Is that sufficient beside the access road or the service road? Is there sufficient space there for the buffering, the landscape buffer?
Yeah, I believe we meet all the bylaw requirements for that.
Okay, so
we do have a solid fence along there as well.
okay.
Can I just budge in? This play space I mentioned earlier, it's at the on the east side of the new building. It's very generous grass play space right there, so that should be adequate for all the play requirement. The northern part of the site, as I mentioned, we have planted a row of tightly spaced 2.5 feet on center cedar hedge that can be grown up to 15, 20 feet high if you let it grow. So that should provide a higher level of screening, and I think that should be adequate for the separation. Thank you.
James, any further questions?
No, Mr. Chair.
All right, thanks. Just building on a couple, the point from James, in terms of the outdoor play spaces, is there already being consultation with the Ministry of Environment to confirm that the proposal would meet School Act licensing requirements?
Todd, can you answer that?
I'll be frank. I don't know. We've consulted them directly. I would have to work with David on that part.
Okay.
And get back to you guys on that. So I would work with our academy staff, and then consult what the requirements are with those people.
Okay. Thank you for that, Todd. I think subject to the direction of the panel, I may request that we add to the conditions that prior to this development permit advancing to council, that we do have some confirmation from the Ministry of Education on that aspect.
Okay.
I'm not sure who may be able to answer this question, but with respect to the boundary between the school portion and church portion of the site and the agricultural portion of the site, there was discussion around landscaping to deal with access controls around the playground. I'm wondering if anyone is able to comment on access controls, i.e. fencing or hedging along the remainder of that area, and specifically whether it would be possible to introduce a continuous hedge along that boundary similar to what is being done along the north property line.
I think Fred can answer that, but we do have a fence along between the ASY land and the AG1 land. There's a continuous fence along that.
Okay, similar to the previous subject to the discretion of the panel, I may request that we investigate with staff the inclusion of a cedar hedge along that boundary in addition to the fence. Should this proceed. And then just, I'm wondering if somebody could comment about the exterior lighting proposed, and specifically the lighting within the parking area. What is proposed? Has it been designed to ensure that there isn't light overspill onto adjacent properties or across number 5 road?
At this point, we have not engaged any street lighting consultants. We don't have a civil engineer at this time. This will be done at the building permit stage.
Okay, similar to my other two comments, I think I'd be looking for some information in terms of exterior lighting, especially within the parking area, prior to this advancing, should we proceed through today. And then just out of curiosity, and Todd, this question is probably best answered by yourself. We are looking at a multi-phase development. Is there any indication as to the ultimate timing of the phases, or unknown at this time, subject to fundraising and other
Yeah, subject to fundraising.
Okay.
Obviously, yeah, it's we all know what's happened to cost of everything. And ideally, we were hoping for a 5 to 10 year cycle of getting to phase 3, but who knows if that's going to happen now.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Rustico, do we have any members of the public or any written correspondence on this application?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There is no one in chambers to delegate on this item, and we have no correspondence for this item.
Okay, that brings us to panel deliberation. Maybe I'll kick it off, just given the items that we've previously discussed. So, subject to the panel's agreement, I would be prepared to move this application subject to the applicant working with staff on the 3 items that were discussed, looking at installation of a continuous hedge along the boundary between the assembly portion and the agricultural portion, working with staff to ensure that a lighting plan for the surface parking area is provided, and that lighting plan limits light exposure onto adjacent properties, and preliminary confirmation or comment from the Ministry of Environment that this proposal would meet Independent School Act licensing requirements. James Lloyd, any comments? Are you supportive of those adjustments? And if so, is anyone prepared to move the recommendation subject to those 3 items?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Seconded.
All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Appreciate your presentation. Look forward to you working with staff on those 3 items and hopefully being able to bring this forward in the near future. Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you to you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That now brings us to the second item on today's agenda. This is development permit number 25-009-725. The applicant is Alon Gall. The property location is 100 Douglas Crescent. The staff recommendation is that a development permit be issued at 100 Douglas Crescent, which would permit the retention of an existing rear yard infill unit on a site zone small-scale multi-unit housing RSML, and to vary the provisions of the zoning bylaw to reduce the minimum required side yard setback for the rear yard infill unit from 1.2 meters to 1 meter, and to reduce the required building separation between the rear yard infill unit and the principal dwelling unit from 6 meters to 2.1 meters. Not sure who is providing the presentation for this. Hello.
Hi.
If you could just introduce yourself, give your name and address for the record, and then proceed with your presentation.
Okay. Okay, so I'm Orly Gal. Before I even start, I want to apologize. My English is far from being perfect, so please bear with me. My architect unfortunately couldn't make it today, so try my best. Let me share my slide with you for a sec. Okay, here it is. Sorry. I can't, oh, here it is. Can you see? Everybody can see? Yep. Okay. So, hello, my name is Orly Gal. My husband Alon and I are owner of the 100 Douglas Crescent in Richmond. We are here today regarding our development permit application for our rear yard infill unit, also known as a coach house. I want to acknowledge that this unit was built before receiving the proper development permit approval, and I respect the city's process and rules. Our intent today is to explain our project clearly and show our commitment to resolving everything in line with the city requirement. Okay, our property is zoned RSM/L-small scale multi-unit housing, where coach houses are allowed with the development permit. I'm so sorry. The rear yard infill unit is a 2-story coach house at the back of the lot behind the main house. It is 972 square meter. Designed to match the main house with similar roof, color, and material. It has its own entrance from the lane with the door located on the left side of the house. The entrance features a secure, well-designed interior door. The unit comes with 2 dedicated parking spots. The garbage area is located between the units and the house, and it is accessible to both buildings. The unit will have covered entry with a modest overhang. There are 2 wall mount lights in the unit entrance, no loss of tree or existing landscaping on the site. The shared outdoor space is provided for both units in the form of a deck and grass area. The new rear unit is in the backyard, mostly follow the city design rules and fits the zoning rules for small-scale multi-unit housing, except for the changes listed below. A side yard setback. We suppose the unit should be 1.2 meter away from the property line. What we request is reduced it to 1 meter. The west side of the unit, facing 60 Douglas Crescent, has no windows, so there will be no privacy issue. It also sits next to a single-story garage, not a house. On the east side, the unit is set back 7.2 meters from the property line, which fully meets the rules. The distance between the houses, there should be 6 meters between the main house and the backyard unit. We request to reduce it to 2.1 meters at ground level. At ground level, there are no windows facing each other, so there is no loss of privacy. The city will also require building permits to make sure fire safety rules are met. On the second floor, the distance is 8.6 meters, which is much more than required. The shorter distance at ground level does not affect privacy on the required private outdoor space, which is on the east side of the property. My apologies. noise and comfort. We will register an aircraft noise covenant and incorporate noise reduction measure into the design. We will be applied the building permit to address the construction to remedy the code issue online in our BC Building Code compliance. We will follow the BC Building Code compliance plan, which includes changes like adjusting a handrail, limiting windows opening, and other safety improvements notes in the code report. Landscaping and facing will provide extra privacy and soften the building's appearance. We will register a flood indemnity covenant. We will register a restriction covenant to prohibit a separate sale of the rear unit. Yep, that's all. That's me.
All right. Thank you very much, Orly.
Thank you. I can stop sharing?
Yes, you can. Thank you. Josh, staff comments?
Just a couple of quick comments. The proposed or the use and density for the site has been reviewed and is confirmed to be in compliance with the city's RSM zoning. As indicated by the applicant prior to development permit issuance, the applicant is required to apply for a building permit that addresses any and all deficiencies that were identified as part of the building code compliance report that we have on file. Staff did conduct a site visit, and the existing landscaping is in good health and good condition. In addition, as the outdoor space between the rear yard infill unit and the main dwelling is shared, and as a means of securing rental, the applicant has agreed to register a covenant on title restricting the stratification of the rear yard infill unit. That concludes staff comments.
Thanks, Josh. James, Lloyd, questions, comments?
Well, this one's unusual, so I'm struggling to figure out what to ask. Usually we see these things before they're built. Usually we'd ask about things like lighting and things like that and planting, but that's all as it is today. I heard Josh say that it's in good shape at this point in time. I don't really know what to ask, Mr. Chair.
Well, I think it is within the panel's discretion to ask about lighting. And I think, it would perhaps be helpful, Orly, if you could explain how we ended up in this predicament where the building was built without appropriate permits.
Unfortunately, that's our biggest life mistake. We moved to Richmond and we bought the house, and COVID started, and we never did that before, ever. We filled the form, tried to apply, and there was like carrier who was supposed to come. It was all by carrier because of COVID. And a few of the neighbors, we were chatting, we were new, they came to see who we are, and we were chatting, and they, unfortunately, we listened. They said that Burkeville is a community that there are so many unauthorized building because it was belonged to Air Canada before, and then it belonged to another airline, and there is not a lot of record, so there is so many, and that we can do it without. So unfortunately, that's what we did. And when we figured it's not right, we are trying to make up and solve the problem the best to our ability.
Okay, thank you for that. In terms of lighting, is there any exterior lighting on this building currently? Is there any proposed?
Yeah, I think I read that there is like two projectors in the unit, like on top of the door. And there is, of course, in the entrance to the house, there is a few, and yeah, there is quite a few lights.
So enough lighting for safety, but not enough to annoy or disturb your
not
neighbors.
enough. No. There is two that goes to different direction. It's not even side with anyone. One is to the, and we can of course switch it to other sides if one of the neighbor is requesting. But it's basically one to the parking spot and one to the entrance. So it will be a safety to enter.
Okay, thank you. Lloyd, anything further?
One thing I heard the applicant say that the two parking spots beside the infill unit were for the infill unit. Is that correct, or is there one for the house and one for the?
No, it's two for the unit.
Okay, where's the parking for the main unit?
Oh, we are parking in the main road in front of the house where we are entering. Even now, when we have this spot, we are not parking here. We're parking in the front.
I understand, but generally we ask for parking as part of our bylaws for.
So there is two parking, so we can divide it, one for us, one for the unit.
Okay.
James?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there, or Ms. Gal, is there, when we apply for building permit, when you apply for building permit, we will have to look at what you've done. So there will be a process involved. And may I ask that your code consultant, have you presented a report that's independent of your designer? I noticed the drawings were from a designer, but there's
we have the
no code information.
Yeah, we have the code reporting from our architect and the remedy that we are going to actually meet all the requirements. We have a survey the land. I'm so sorry, my terminology is not proper, but the landscape property. We had an engineer that there is quite a few. Documents that we submitted. Everyone that we've been requested to.
Yes, Mr. Cooper, I can confirm that we do have a code compliance report on file from Ms. Gall and her consultant that has been reviewed by the city's by the city staff.
Okay. That's different from Espacios. It was done by someone else other than Espacios. Which is okay, good. And they are registered architect or engineer in British Columbia.
Yep. Sorry. Yes.
Okay. All right. Just a bit of a sticky question. Have you had complaints from your neighbors because of a two-story or overlook or privacy complaints?
No, not at all. The only question that we had is how to do it and how to get the same. I said, no, we don't know yet. We're in the process. Trust me, get a permit first and then do it. So, I know that in Burkeville there is a lot of higher building than ours and way bigger than ours that been there for a long time, and it's all been. I don't know about the. I just know that the process was backwards for us, so not recommended to any of my neighbors, but they are definitely. I haven't heard any complaint, any request, nothing.
Okay.
Great, thank you for that. Rustico, do we have any members of the public that wish to address the panel or any letters on this file?
None for both, Wayne.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to panel deliberation. I guess I'll start it off echoing much of the comments already. This is a very odd situation for the panel to be in. I can appreciate the explanation provided. It still does put the panel in a very awkward situation. Just want to highlight, I guess, moving forward, that you're aware of the desire, the need to obtain permits prior to any construction.
Absolutely.
Yes, the city's ability to retroactively inspect this building is going to be very complicated. I'm sure you're aware of that in terms of your conversations with city staff. This is going to end up being a much more costly endeavor than had permits been. Yeah, so
absolutely no. Yeah, you pay for mistakes, and we're paying. That's the way it is. Yeah, absolutely. We do know that all the construction and everything being done according to the code. We were very specific with our constructor about that, and we have tons of pictures and proof that we did everything by the code. So hopefully that will help.
Okay. Lloyd, James, any further comment? And is anyone prepared to move the staff recommendation?
I'm prepared to move the staff recommendation.
Second.
All right. With that, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Thank you, Ms. Gal. Your permit has been endorsed today. Please continue to work with staff on these matters. Urge you to get your building permit application in as soon as possible if it hasn't already been submitted.
I appreciate, and I really appreciate Alex and Josh being here and help me with everything. Thank you so much. You are awesome.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
Is that okay?
Yes, you are. You're free to go. Thank you.
Bye.
Josh, any new business?
No new business, Mr. Chair. The next scheduled meeting of the Development Permit Panel is September 10th, and we do have items for that meeting.
All right. May I have a motion to adjourn? All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.